So I'm going to do a bit more exposition on the topics that I was bringing up in the earlier video, the context of that conversation. You're always welcome to read my essays. They go into the details. They're never monetized, neither is this. Just Google my name with the essay titles. Pull it up. Close the pop-up. You're done. So some of the essays that deal with this topic, there was True Love App, which is a better way to do dating than what you guys settled for. There's also Castle Made of Vampires with a Y, vampire. Diagnostics to Spot Evil, The Beauty Standard. There are a number of essays that deal with specific areas of this topic. So I watched a lot of videos on all the different angles of the dating and relationship game and all the advice that people give about it. And it's weird how many of those people don't have healthy long-term relationships at all ever in their lives. Not just in dating, but also in their friend circle and family in general. They have a really superficial understanding because they don't do any research on the sociology or the neuroscience or the philosophy of love or mediation and negotiation and conflict resolution. They're misusing therapy speak. They're making negative assumptions about entire demographics. It's really gross. So we're going to try and handle some of that. And I have a whole series of earlier videos about those two main groups that keep telling you that they know the correct answer and how they both present bad answers. That there's a whole playlist called False Choices in Relationships, and that goes into a number of other specifics. But I just wanted to cover some of the topics that came up in the conversation I had earlier today. And this has to do with specifically what women say they don't want in a relationship and how to get that, how to avoid the things that women say they want to avoid. If this doesn't sound like what you actually want, though, then you've got to be honest that you're not actually trying to avoid those things. So if you don't want a groomer, if you don't want a liar, if you don't want an abuser, if you don't want a narcissist, then we have to look at the behaviors of those groups of people to understand which behaviors you're supposed to avoid in potential dating. So if a man is willing to buy lots of stuff for a stranger, that is not an indication of provider energy. Because someone who is a provider wants to provide for the people they know and appreciate and admire. They provide for their friends and family and community. They're generous in general. That's a provider. But someone who pays for an expensive dinner for a stranger, that's part of love bombing. That's what someone does when they're paying for a prostitute. So if someone's willing to give you free stuff and they don't even know who you are grabbing a candy from a stranger in front of a white van. If a stranger is willing to give you candy, it's because they're trying to lure you in so that they can exploit you. And this is very consistent. You shouldn't take candy from strangers. Don't take candy from strangers. That includes drinks, gifts, dinners, vacations. You should not be accepting things that you didn't earn. And what we see consistently, this is not just in dating, but in general, con artists want to dangle something you want as a freebie so that they can capture you. And as a result, con artists are only able to exploit people who are greedy. You have to be greedy to fall for a con, because they're going to give you something you never earned, and when you reach for it, that's when you fall in the trap. Especially, it's called Romeo trafficking. This is where a guy will flatter you and tell you how amazing you are and butter you up, and he wants it to seem like you're such an amazing person when you're not. Like, be realistic. So he's trying to make you have an inflated ego because once he gives you that ego narcissism you're addicted to, it's not just validation, it's ego. It's narcissism. If you're narcissistic, flattery works on you. Just be honest. So someone who's going to inflate your ego and then you like them because they inflate your ego, that's how you get Romeo trafficked, where you end up trusting a person just because they flatter you. And then you put yourself in situations that are very dangerous very quickly. So these are some examples. Also, charm. If someone's trying to say everything you wanted to hear and trying to get you to like them, that should be a clear indication that they're a manipulator. They're trying to get you to like them. They're trying to say what you want to hear. So what grandmas in the past, or cultures around the world, said is never talk to a charmer. Because a charm is a kind of magical spell called an enchantment that's meant to lure you away so that you can be enslaved. What you know for sure if someone is very charming is that they are good at manipulating and lying. Is that who you wanted? You wanted a manipulative liar? Okay, that's up to you. But don't pretend you're going to get any kind of other person. Because someone who values integrity is going to be authentic, which isn't charming. It's not. It's messy, it's weird, it's different from you. So we see these different forms of charm being used all the time. Pickup artists use negs, where they get you to be self-conscious and seeking approval. Soy boys want to emulate you to try and get you to like them by being similar. Nice guys want to give you treats and flattery because they think they can buy love with favors. There's lots of stuff. But in general, if someone's trying to charm you, if they're trying to get you to like them, you should be suspicious. That's when you want to be suspicious. Now, let's look at if someone has some natural amount of physical attraction and you're judging them based on their physical attractiveness, then you're applying a beauty standard to another person. And ethics says that you are a hypocrite if you hold someone else to a standard that you don't meet. So if you're going to hold a man to a beauty standard, then you have to expect that you will only be with men who hold you to a beauty standard. You probably shouldn't be judging men by their looks unless you want men to judge you for your looks. That's just ethics. And this is true for all kinds of demographic issues, political issues, everything. If you're going to hold someone else to a standard, you better meet it first. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's a good ethic. So if you're looking for someone who is hot enough for you, you're only going to find someone who thinks you're hot enough. And as soon as you're not hot, they're going to leave you, which is what you earned. And if you're using your appearance to try and get someone's attention, thinking that your appearance will make someone love your heart and mind, you're only going to get someone who loves your appearance. If you want to be with someone who loves your heart and mind, then you're going to have to not use your appearance. It's one or the other. So in general, if you are looking for someone who's physically attractive enough, the people who are going to max that scale, the looks maxers, they're narcissists. That's why they spend so much time on their looks. And if you're not judging a person by their choices in life, if you're not looking at how they behaved in their life to understand their integrity or their goals and motivations, you're just looking at their style, whether they're your type, then you deserve the same. And you shouldn't be surprised when you get someone who's abusive when you're willing to be with someone who displays that behavior. If you put on a blindfold and run across the freeway, I'm from California, I say freeway instead of highway. If you run across the highway blindfolded, you can't accuse the cars of hitting you. If you're selecting for someone who displays callous disregard and selfishness and is constantly saying derogatory comments, you should expect that to happen to you. You have to. This is for all genders in all relationships, not just dating. So if you don't want to be with an abuser, then you'd have to pick someone who actually made wise, compassionate choices in their life, which means you'd have to get to know the person. If you don't want someone who's a narcissist, then you can't be picking the guy who spent so much time on his appearance. If you don't want someone who lies and manipulates, then you got to avoid everyone who's trying to get you to like them. Everyone who shows charm, you have to avoid, just like Grandma said. And if you don't want to be conned and abused and trafficked, then you have to stop trying to get free stuff from strangers. And if that doesn't sound like what you want, then you're going to have to content yourself with the kind of men who do those behaviors. They're narcissistic, they're lying and manipulative, they're abusive con artists. It's up to you to pick the kind of relationship you want to be in. And I'm going to measure your choices to see what you actually prefer. This is a core concept. If I put broccoli in front of you and a marshmallow, and you tell me you want broccoli, and I say, okay, go, pick the broccoli. And you grab the marshmallow and stuff it in your face. I thought you said you wanted broccoli. Here, I'm putting another marshmallow out. Do you want broccoli or marshmallow? And you say you want broccoli, and then you grab the marshmallow and stuff it in your face. Well, you can't keep telling me that you want broccoli when you're the one grabbing the marshmallow. So either be honest about what it is you want, or stop complaining.